My name is Danny Gaskill, and this is my legacy. Yeah, so I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and moved to Richmond when I was about 1.5, 2 years old. I think we started at Weston Pres over in northern Henrico-ish, but pretty quickly transitioned to Hope right when it was around. We were still at the Godwin school building, and it was right around the time we transitioned to the West Creek campus. Christianity was definitely part of my upbringing and helped build the building blocks of who I am today. Junior year, during the spring, I had a college meeting with one of my counselors, and the class right after it, I had a panic attack. I remember it was my math class. I just remember I couldn't breathe. I got really dizzy. I couldn't move. I think my teacher called on me, and I just stuttered out some nonsense of who knows what, trying to act like I was paying attention. But I remember I was terrified. It was the first time something like that had really ever happened to me. And I didn't know what to do. And I was really, really stressed. And the panic attacks just kept coming and kept coming. Yeah, so May 1st of my junior year, I was at therapy. I had been going to therapy. This was probably my 3rd or 4th session, and shared with my counselor that I had been struggling with thoughts of self-harm, suicide. It was definitely a scary time. He immediately recommended, it was if you don't feel safe yourself, you need to go to the hospital today. If that is something that is seriously that much of a struggle in your life. And so we left straight from there. I didn't get to go home. Went straight to the ER and was held there for 3 days. That was probably the worst 3 days of my life. It was horrible. I wasn't allowed to have my phone. It's 21st century problems. Wasn't allowed to have my phone. I had zero communication with my friends. Couldn't do anything. I had books and word puzzles, and that was about it. Very, very rough time. And then I was given the choice between a partial hospitalization plan where I would go, instead of school, I would go to the hospital every day. And we would do group therapies and intentional. They would watch me so they can change medication and stuff like that. And so I had a choice between that and full-time care, where I would go live at a facility where there was 24-hour watch on me for probably 3 or 4 weeks, maybe more, depending on if I needed it or not. Thankfully, I was not leaning toward this, but my parents sort of pushed me and decided to go with the partial hospitalization plan. And I remember the first week or two, I hated it. It was for 12 to 17-year-olds. So I was 17 and turned 18 that August. So I was the oldest possible person that could be in that program. I had a good relationship with God. I had read the whole Bible. I was why is this happening to me of all people? There's nothing in my life that if I could change, I would change. My parents love each other. I lived in a safe home. I had great friends, perfect friend group. There was genuinely nothing to point at that would have been sort of a trauma point or something that could have started it. And I just remember it was this is out of nowhere. Because nothing happened to me, it must be me. I'm flawed. But I remember it was honestly one of the greatest things that God could have done for me. Is he gave me an opportunity to rely on him, because I couldn't rely on myself anymore. I remember being in the program. I thought there was 0 point in it until there was probably a 14-year-old, a middle schooler who, I'm not going to go into details of their life, but had a very rough go at it. And I remember being able to share Jesus with them. And that was one of the coolest moments of my life, of this, we are in this place because we are both at rock bottom. There's nowhere to go except up. And I remember these people searching for something and asking questions, and the same questions that I had been asking for months of like, is there a greater purpose in this? And is God even through all of this? And I think being able to share my experience and my understanding of God's love and his forgiveness and grace and all that comes with a relationship with God, I remember being able to share that was one of the most influential and touching things that I've been able to do. One song that has been truly impactful through my experiences is the song Canyons by Corey Asbury. And he talks about how canyons wide, oceans deep, they can't contain his love. And I think I truly felt that for a while is being in that canyon or that pit, and it's hard to feel God's love and God's purpose. And I think that song, it addresses the faults that we feel as humans. I remember listening to the song when I was going through it and hoping that I could realize God's love for me, and that it was there despite the distance that I was feeling and I was putting between myself and God. Because God's always there, and he's always searching. Yeah. So if you get nothing else from it, just I would like you to take away that God is there in the suffering, that there truly is a reason for everything, that even when you feel in the pits, there's a mountain on the way that you will get to see the view from. It sounds so cliche to say that God is there through the lows, but from my experience, he truly is, and there's nothing like it. Because one thing I'd say is super important is when you feel those pits and the faults that we feel as humans, community in others around you is one of the most important things that you can get. I'm a part of a couple small groups, and genuinely, I don't know what I would have done without those guys around me, and the foundation that not only I had built, but the people that I had put around myself. Whether it was the 2 a.m. phone calls of, I just need to talk to someone tonight, or the constant text messages from people where it's like, hey, hope you're doing good today. I think God gave us community for a reason. He had 12 disciples so that they could rely on each other as much as they rely on God. And so I would recommend, if you are feeling any of the things I was feeling, find a couple of guys that you truly trust and have your best intentions at heart, and really lean on them, and let them guide your way, as it's hard to find where you're going in the complete darkness.
This is special.